This one's for all the late bloomers out there. Maybe you feel behind, maybe a little lost. In your 20s and 30s, you see others who were once on a similar path to you, now on a different path. A lot can change in a short space of time. And I think for me, it kind of surprised me that when you're a child or a young person in school, especially in school, and then if you go on to university, you're all at the same pace, you're all doing the same thing. And then after university, it completely changes because people take different paths in lives, they go different directions, and the length of those paths can vary so much, I guess, in terms of, what kind of field of work you work in, or if you choose to go traveling, if you choose to, I don't know, or if you get married and settle down, if you have kids. That, I guess, starts happening when you reach your 20s, maybe your mid-20s and beyond. And then paths can look so different. And sometimes if you feel like everyone else that you know who is around your age is doing those things, you can then feel like you're behind, or you kind of question, what is it that I should be doing? According to the Cambridge Dictionary, a late bloomer is someone who becomes good at something after people usually become good at it. It's when strengths and talents occur later than usual in life. But then again, what is usual in today's world? In today's society, we live in a time where success at a young age is celebrated and, I guess, emphasized, especially in the media. For example, you have those lists like Forbes 30 under 30 lists, and people might be recognized for, you accomplished this or achieved these accolades at this age. Especially if they're young, you tend to notice it, or I've noticed it a lot in today's society. And I guess there is something alluring to see success at a young age, to see someone who is kind of just starting out achieve great heights. Can be a fascinating thing. And good for those people who are on that list, or who do achieve whatever they desire at a young age, especially if they are happy and thriving. But, and this is a big but, there are so many who found and do find success and calling later in life. And of course, success can mean different things to different people. But I guess I'm talking in the sense of reaching goals and things that you are really proud of, or that you want to do. Or you might even sort of stumble across these things later in life without even realizing that you're working towards it. And here is just a few people who are well known that are considered late bloomers. And I'll talk a little bit about one of them, and this is Colonel Sanders. You may know him, you may not know him, but this man had many different jobs growing up. Throughout his life. He worked as a lawyer, a salesman, and started a ferry boat company. That's just a few of the many jobs he had. And he seemed to struggle keeping them. I don't think he liked being told what to do. And at the age of 40, he started selling food he made. And it wasn't even initially a restaurant or a cafe, a place to sell food, but he just decided that was what he was going to do. I believe it was like a gas station. And eventually that grew and led into what we now know as KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. It wasn't all plain sailing, but eventually he did grow the franchise. But this was only in his later years, much later years. And you probably have seen him many times because his face actually appears in the KFC logo. And he is an example of a late bloomer. Success can look different for everyone, but really his story and what I'm trying to get at is that it's never too late to start, to chase that dream, to get recognized for something you've worked on. You know, whether it's something you want to achieve, whether it's to get married, whether it's to have an adventure, whatever it is, don't give up because you don't know what is around the corner. And if you do give up, well, you're not giving yourself that chance of getting to your potential, to seeing what happens. So you have to keep going. And there's a reason that Aesop's fable, the hare and the tortoise, remains. So I'm sure you are familiar with this fable, this little story, but there's a hare and he races all the animals and he always wins. He's the quickest of all the animals. And the hare knows this and he kind of says, well, who's going to race me next? And the tortoise volunteers for this. And everyone's like, well, you know that the hare's so quick. You're not going to win. And so they begin the race and the hare rushes off. He's so quick and the tortoise is really slow. We know that they are slow creatures. And the hare is way ahead and he sees the tortoise and he decides, right, okay, I'm a bit tired. I'm going to have a nap now. So he naps in the sun. And whilst he's napping, the tortoise is steadily making his way through the race. And in the end, the hare oversleeps. And by this point, the tortoise has overtaken him and he's near the finishing line. And that's when he wakes up. The hare wakes up. And in the end, the tortoise does win because I guess the hare decided to sleep. He was overconfident. But really, the moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race. But I just want to say life isn't a race. It's just not designed to be a race. Even though many people do treat it like it's one, I don't know why it's ingrained in us that we have to do things as quick as possible because really it's more enjoyable when you take your time with it. And this was a fable that I was reminded of. My tutor reminded me of this when I was doing training for therapies to become a therapist. And it's a good reminder. It's good to be reminded of the fact that it's okay to take your time. Take your time, smell the roses, explore the world, explore different interests, experiment, and fail. You need to fail to get success. Failure can be such a great teacher, and it might sound like a cliche, but when you're failing, it means that you're trying. And of course, try and find joy in the process, because it's very well trying, doing different things, achieving things, but if you're just doing all this and you're not enjoying it, what's the point? And I guess that is why it's so important to take your time, to slow down. It's a slow burn, to quote Casey Musgraves, because when you take your time with it, you're better able to enjoy the process. When you're rushing, you can't enjoy things because you're just rushing. You can't sit to smell the roses and to be present. So if you feel behind, or you're feeling down about where you are in life and can relate to being a late bloomer, this is for you. This is a message for you that it's okay. In fact, it's perfectly okay. Enjoy the slow process. Take your time, figure things out, explore. Even if things are taking ages, that's okay, because you probably don't realize that you're learning in the process, that you're building character. Your struggles might help someone down the line. You might be able to relate, to help people, to give advice to others. You just don't know how what's happening now is going to help you in the future. So don't worry if you feel behind. Don't worry if you feel like your life is going at a very slow pace. It's okay. Take your time and enjoy the process.